How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? Because that's all the universe wants to know from you is how you loving. Welcome. We're reading the Bible, the whole thing, and we're doing it every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Valerie Love YouTube channel, the Christian Witches YouTube channel, the Christian Witches Facebook fan page, and yes, there's more. Not only are we reading the Bible, we have a commentary from yours truly every day after the Bible reading, and we have the community discussion going on here. Oh, don't we love that? Today is Genesis chapter 48 and chapter 49. Let's go. We're reading from the Public Domain World English Bible. After these things, someone said to Joseph, "Behold, your father is sick." He took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Someone told Jacob and said, "Behold, your son Joseph comes to you." And Israel strengthened himself and sat on the bed. Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said to me, 'Behold, I will make you fruitful and multiply you, and I will make you a company of peoples, and will give this land to your offspring after you for an everlasting possession.' Now your two sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you into Egypt, are mine, Ephraim and Manasseh, even as Reuben and Simeon will be mine. Your offspring, whom you become the father of after them, will be yours. They will be called after the name of their brothers in their inheritance. As for me, when I came from Paddan, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was still some distance to come to Ephrath, and I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, also called Bethlehem. Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, 'Who are these?' Joseph said to his father, 'They are my sons, whom God has given me here.' He said, 'Please bring them to me, and I will bless them.' Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he couldn't see well. Joseph brought them near to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, 'I didn't think I would see your face, and behold, God has let me see your offspring also.' Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near to him. Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, guiding his hands knowingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. He blessed Joseph and said, 'The God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has fed me all my life long to this day, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads and let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, let them grow into a multitude upon the earth. When Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. He held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." His father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He also will become a people, and he also will be great. However, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his offspring will become a multitude of nations." He blessed them that day, saying, "Israel will bless in your name, saying, God make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh." He set Ephraim before Manasseh. Israel said to Joseph, "Behold, I'm dying, but God will be with you and bring you again to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow." Genesis chapter 49. Jacob called to his sons and said, "Gather yourselves together that I may tell you that which will happen to you in the days to come. Assemble yourselves and hear, you sons of Jacob. Listen to Israel, your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, excelling in dignity and excelling in power, boiling over like water. You shall not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, then defiled it. He went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their swords are weapons of violence. My soul, don't come into their council. My glory, don't be united to their assembly. For in their anger they killed men. In their self-will they hamstrung cattle. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Judah, your brothers will praise you. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down before you. Judah is a lion's cub. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion, as a lioness. Who will rouse him up? The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he comes to whom it belongs. The obedience of the peoples will be to him, binding his foal to the vine, his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He has washed his garments in wine, his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes will be red with wine, his teeth white with milk. Zebulun will dwell at the haven of the sea. He will be for a haven of ships. His border will be on Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, lying down between the saddlebags. He saw a resting place, that it was good, the land, that it was pleasant. He bows his shoulder to the burden and becomes a servant doing forced labor. Dan will judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a serpent on the trail, an adder in the path that bites the horse's heels so that his rider falls backward. I have waited for your salvation, Yahweh. A troop will press on Gad, but he will press on their heel. Asher's food will be rich. He will produce royal dainties. Naphtali is a doe set free who bears beautiful fawns. Joseph is a fruitful vine by a spring. His branches run over the wall. The archers have severely grieved him, shot at him, and persecuted him, but his bow remained strong. The arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of your father, who will help you, by the Almighty, who will bless you with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies below, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of your father have prevailed above the blessings of my ancestors, above the boundaries of the ancient hills. They will be on the head of Joseph, on the crown of the head of him who is separated from his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning, he will devour the prey. At evening, he will divide the plunder. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is what their father spoke to them and blessed them. He blessed everyone according to his own blessing. He instructed them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field from Ephron the Hittite as burial place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah, his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah, his wife. And there I buried Leah, the field and the cave that is therein, which was purchased from the children of Heth. When Jacob finished charging his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed, breathed his last breath, and was gathered to his people. That is Genesis chapter 48 and 49. And if I was not on screen share, I apologize most vociferously. I apologize. Here is Genesis chapter 48. And here is Genesis chapter 49. Profound, quite profound. Now, there is something I want to ask ChatGPT, and the thing that I want to ask ChatGPT is, why are there different verses? Thank you so much for letting me know there was no screen share, and I was already off into the reading of the Bible. Thank you. Y'all help me, please. Help me, please. Help me. Now, by the way, Carla, I have your answer. So if you came for the reading of the Bible, there you have it. Genesis chapter 48 and Genesis chapter 49. If you came for the commentary, here we go. And we're going to start off the commentary with, why are there different listings of the 12 tribes of Israel in different places? You may notice that. Let's go to ChatGPT and let's talk to the scholars about this. Let's go talk to the scholars. All right, ChatGPT. New chat, because I was talking about it yesterday. I was talking to it yesterday about It is raining outside, so I apologize if we get a frozen moment here or there. I apologize for that. Okay, what do critical Bible scholars say with regard to the differences in the listings of the 12 tribes of Israel? That's one thing that I want you to look at. Great question. This is one of those places where critical biblical scholarship is very clear and also kind of deliciously subversive. Thank you, Mercurius. My AI's name is Mercurius. A short version, there was never one fixed original list of the 12 tribes of Israel. The number 12 is symbolic and ideological, not a stable historical census. So we must be clear. The whole 12 tribes of Israel, because I hear Hebrew Israelites talking about it. I hear Hebrew Israelites come in the chat and comments and they say, oh, we're the original tribes. There was no 12 original tribes of Israel. Let's just be clear about that. And it's okay if you want to use it as a metaphor. A-okay if it soothes your soul to work with it in some way. A-okay if you want to use it as an allegory. We're not talking about metaphor and allegory in this moment. In this moment, we're talking about historical facts. Was there actually ever a list? Because the lists differ. So why? There was never one fixed original list of the 12 tribes of Israel. There never was one. Scholars have known this for a long time. There are multiple tribal lists and they don't agree. When you line them up, the differences jump out immediately. Here are the major tribal lists. Let's look at them. Genesis 29, 30 to 35, 30, Genesis 29 to 30 and 35 are the sons of Jacob. Numbers 1 and 26, the wilderness census. Deuteronomy 33, blessings of Moses. Joshua 13 to 21, land allotments. Judges 5, Song of Deborah. And scholars do purport that the Song of Deborah is one of the oldest parts of the Hebrew Bible. It's very old. Judges. It's way older than Genesis. I know, they're not in chronological order. Ezekiel 47 to 48, utopian future vision. First Chronicles 1 through 9, post-exilic reconstruction. Revelation 7, late symbolic reuse. They differ in which tribes appear, which are missing, whether Joseph appears as one tribe or two, the order of tribes, whether Levi is included or excluded. Critical scholars see this as evidence of layering, redaction, and shifting social realities, not error. It's not an error. Like my mother had 4 children. We have the birth certificates. I know back in the day we didn't have birth certificates. It's very clear that my mother had 4 children. We know all 4 of their full names, of which I am one. 200 years from now, no one's going to say that my mother had 12 children. And no one's going to say that my mother had children's names that are not her children. And no one's going to subtract my name and put somebody else's name there. If you see moving around like that with different names, different lists, sometimes they include this person, sometimes they exclude this person. We must know that we are dealing with a story and not historical fact. This is just a clue, right? 12 is a theological ideal, not a demographic fact. Now, this is the part that people don't like. 12 tribes is a symbolic framework expressing completeness, sacred order, and covenant identity. I suspect, I don't have proof for this, I suspect, and I don't believe everything in the Zeitgeist movie. The Zeitgeist movie was good, but sometimes you can go overboard with making things match. Sometimes there's an overboard there too. I suspect that the 12 goes back to the Anunnaki because they were vivid sky watchers. And we're talking about the 12 constellations, 12 months, 12 zodiac signs, 12 Olympian gods, 12 apostles, 12 repeats in the Bible. And I do believe it's some kind of astrological reference, a holdover from the Anunnaki and their watches with the 12 dials on it. 12 was a very important number to them. So when a tribe disappears or splits, the system is adjusted to keep 12. So if this one goes bye-bye, we got to find another one and a reason that this other one is now part of the 12, because we have to keep 12. Joseph is the mathematical cheat code. Joseph is never really a territorial tribe. His sons are. Remember, we just read that Jacob blessed Ephraim and Manasseh in the story. This never happened. There's no Ephraim, there's no Manasseh. None of this ever happened. We must keep that first and foremost in our minds and then say, oh, okay, we're plunging into the story world. We're plunging into the world of Greek mythology. We're plunging into the world of story. So now we can look at the story and dissect the story. We must know, though, that it's a story. That's the first important part, because I still see in the comments, and let me come on screen share for a moment and share this with you. How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? Come on in, come on in, come on in. If you are not subscribed to the channel, what's up with that? Smash it. Smash that subscribe button right now. Smash it. Put on notifications so you know that when we go live, you get the notification, okay? And if you haven't, mash the likes, smash up the likes. What's going on? Participate. Participate. Make it reciprocal, okay? 12 watching you now. That's interesting. That's interesting because on my end, it shows me very different numbers. So here's the deal. I still see beautiful. I love the comments. Keep the comments coming. Keep the comments coming. I love the comments. I get to read not all, most of the comments from the channel I get to read. And this is what I have found with a comment here and there. We still believe these things are real. And that means that if I look at a comment on social media, on one of my videos, and the comment reflects that the person still feels or believes that this story is real, that is a reflection of my own consciousness, which means somewhere deep in my consciousness, I either thought they were real, want them to be real, believe that some aspect of it could be real. It's a mirror of my own consciousness. You can't see something that's not your mind. It's impossible. All metaphysicians know this. Everything you see is your own mind. You cannot see something that's not your mind. All you're seeing is your mind everywhere you look. You're not seeing other people. There are no other people. You're seeing yourself. And whatever you pick up from those other people, this person is angry, that's your anger, boo. And if you pick up this person is jealous, baby, that's your jealousy. So when I read the comments, it is a reflection of my own consciousness that either I believed these stories were real, yes, I did, or some part of my consciousness deep in the caverns of my unconscious mind that I don't even know what the hell is going on down there is, no matter how much shadow work I've done, and I continue to do shadow work, every morning I have a spiritual practice of going deep within. You can still find things after doing 30 years of meditation. You can still find things in your consciousness that are not God. And you get to shine the light on it. You get to love it. You get to shine the light on it. That's how you heal it. Well, when I saw these comments, I understood. Oh, I understand the assignment, Spirit. Yes. I understand the assignment that we are still so married to these stories that we want them to be real. It's hard to fathom that we have been deceived. It's hard to believe that people told us things that were not so. It's hard, that's a hard one to accept. And not only did they tell us things that were not so, they told it to us over and over and over like it was the gospel. Soon, when we get to the gospels, they called them gospels. This is the gospel truth. This came straight from God. And they said it with fervor. And they said it with a carrot and a stick. Believe it and go up, or don't believe it and go down. I mean, what were we supposed to do? Self-preservation alone would tell you, let me get with the program and go with this story, because all these people around me are on this story. I mean, as a kid or as a person in a life where you love the people around you, what else are you supposed to do? Right? What else are you supposed to do? So here's what I want to say about that we still believe some of these things are real. Nothing that we have read so far in the book of Genesis actually happened. Oh my God. What? I must say that again. Other than let me put some caveats in it. It didn't happen the way Genesis said it happened. Now there was a war in Sodom and Gomorrah, not for people being gay. And there was a flood, not with Noah. Noah was the Bible name. Long time ago, his name was Atrahasis, and his name was Utnapishtim. And it wasn't because God told him to bring all the animals on the ark. That never happened. It's an allegory. It's a metaphor. It's a mythology. So I don't want to say, and there was an Adam and Eve. There were several Adams and several Eves. They were in a outdoor laboratory that looked like a garden. So there wasn't one Adam and Eve, right? We wouldn't be alive today if there was one Adam and Eve. Why? Because the gene pool would not have been diverse enough to support 8 billion people on the planet. Genes don't work that way. And spiritual people, or not spiritual people, religious people want to tell you that God will override God's own rules and laws to make a miracle. But why? Why? If did God make genes? Oh, yes, God made genes. God created us. God made DNA. God made everything, and God made it all perfect. And it's wonderful. It's amazing. It's perfect. God made it. But then what you're telling me is that we have discovered in the gene pool that you cannot get 8 billion people from 2 people, because the way God set it up, if you continue to intermarry and mix in a very small gene pool, by the 6th generation, the people will be deformed and so susceptible to disease that they will die. You need at least a good 10,000 people for a very diverse gene pool. So what you're saying is God made DNA, God made genes, God made Adam and Eve. And then God turned around and negated God's own creation by making 8 billion people come from 2 people. Make it make sense. No, no, couldn't have happened. And now we know scientifically that it couldn't have happened. We now have cracked the code of the genes. They map the human genome. We just learned things. We just learned more than we knew before. That's all. And now we know, oh, yeah, it's probably, not only is it probably impossible, it is genetically impossible to have an entire race of human beings of 8 billion people that came from one man and one woman. It is genetically impossible. So therefore, we must think of it in a different way. It doesn't mean throw the story out, because a lot of atheists and a lot of witches and a lot of people who left Christianity, they threw the Bible out. Oh, it's ridiculous. I didn't do that because I just love this book so much. And my spirit told me, keep what you got in Christianity and correct it. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You ain't throwing out your whole Christ consciousness and everything you got from the Bible so you can start again as a witch. That's why I'm a Christian witch. And a lot of people who don't listen to me and are and are committed to misunderstanding me, they don't get it. And you do understand that there are certain people that are committed to misunderstanding you. That's what they want to do. They want to misunderstand you. They don't want to understand you. Don't talk to those people. Don't talk to them at all, because they want to find a problem with what you're doing. And here's why they want to find a problem with what you're doing: because they have a problem with themselves. Boo. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. So you can bless them and let them move along. Let's go to, so the 12 tribes. No, no, there's no 12 tribes. Now, you might say, Reverend Val, for all our Money Magic members who know this, we just did a whole ritual with 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles, 12 crystals, and 12 angels. Yes, we did. And what did we do when it came to the 12 tribes? Our list, we looked at the metaphysical divine attributes of each of these beings. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as metaphysical, I'm looking at it as magical. So I use the 12 tribes for magic. Now, what you use the 12 tribes for? A sign, a divine. You can even get it from the Bible if you want to. We just saw that Jacob, here's how you can use it for magic. I will show you exactly how you can use it for magic. Use all that stuff that you already know. You already know this story. If you grew up Christian, so just use the story for your own benefit. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, excelling in dignity, excelling in power. Therefore, if you are doing Reuben, you might say to yourself, if you go by this list, you might say for yourself, Reuben for me in 12, you could set up 12 crystals on your altar. I have 12 crystals on my altar right now for it. I still have my crystals up from the ritual we did at the first of the year, the 12-day ritual. Because 12 is such an important number. And 12 is an important number. The Bible confirms 12 is an important number. There's 12 constellations. I'm in alignment with the 12. It's an important number. So why not align with important numbers? And it's not an important number because the Bible says so only. The Bible says it and astrology says it. And 12 aligns with me. I like 12. I like it. So if you were to take this list, you could say to yourself, I will work with the archetype of Reuben and I will make a sigil for Reuben. And this sigil will be strength, excelling in dignity and excelling in power. If you wanted to bring more dignity, more power, and more sort of this royal sense into your life, let Reuben, when you hear the word Reuben, make that be the catchphrase for excelling in dignity, excelling in power. And you could say to yourself, Reuben, anytime you're walking down the street, and you will bring up your dignity and your power. Like, it's easy to use this stuff for magic. It's very easy. That's one simple example. One simple example. You can use anything and everything in the Bible for magic, which is a good moment for me to share the answer to Carla's excellent question yesterday about popes handing out magic spells. I found it. So let me give it to you. 12-gate destiny activation portal. Love it. 12-gate destiny activation ritual was powerful, still feeling its effects. So am I, Carla. That's why I kept my crystals and my grimoire that I wrote everything out in every day is still on my altar because it's still working. So something's happening. So I didn't put that ritual away yet. It's still cooking. And then I'll know when, okay, it's time to gather up everything to do that with that ritual and move on to another ritual. Who is the Pope handing out magic spells according to this book? I want you to get this book. If you're a practicing magician, witch, sorcerer, this book is amazing. It's called Dictionary of Ancient Magic Words and Spells. and from Abraxas to Zoar. And I went through yesterday so that I could find the answer to Carla's question about popes handing out spells. And what I found was it is, here it is. It is Pope Leo the Third. Pope Leo the Third. And let me give you this spell. Okay, first I'll show it to you. Let's have a little magic class here. Just a little magic class because I'm a Christian witch. I can't help myself. I love magic. These characters, A, B, G, D, K, E. These characters form the start of a long series found in the Note or Brief of Charlemagne, a text believed to have been written by Pope Leo III and given to Charlemagne in order to protect him from enemies, swords, poisons, serpents, potions, serpents, and poisons. This phrase reappears in several Latin charms. This is how you get a nice protection spell, especially if you're traveling and things like that, right? Most notable, some of y'all need to do protection spells over your stomach when you go places, because why do you get sick when you go places? Stop doing that. Stop getting stomach upset when you go to a new place. I never get stomach upset. I eat anything all over the world. I was just in 7 different countries and my stomach didn't do anything different than what it normally does. Stop. Master that. Okay. Now, this phrase reappears in several Latin charms, most notably in the note of Saint Columban. It is said that God gave it to the abbot Columban and that the priest requested it before leaving for war. Skeptical, the priest experimented on a criminal to test the virtues of the spell, and the villain emerged unscathed from all the ordeals imposed on him. A copy made its way to Charlemagne by way of Pope Leo III. They say that Pope Leo III created this spell or endorsed this spell and was sent to King Charlemagne during a time of war to protect him. The note of St. Columban offers protection from thieves, curses, bad weather, epilepsy, and fire. So, I was super uh, fascinated by the note of Charlemagne or the brief of Charlemagne. And I had to go ask ChatGPT about this magical document protection spell that actually helps you avoid all of these dangers. So let's go over to my ChatGPT and I will show you what it said. Okay, so we know the 12 tribes. We'll come back to that another time. Breath of Charlemagne analysis. Here it is. What can you tell me about the note or breath of Charlemagne, a text believed to have been written by Pope Leo III with magical spells that protect one from harm? The node or breath of Charlemagne or brief of Charlemagne is a fascinating object sitting at the intersection of early medieval Christianity, royal ideology, and practical magic, which everyone did, including Christians. Do not believe Christians when they tell you that there was no magic in Christianity. There's still magic in Christianity to this day. And the reason most Christians don't know that is because they don't know what magic and witchcraft are, because they have been given a wrong idea in their mind that they refuse to eject from their mind so that truth may take its place. That's what's happening there. Okay. Now, scholarship, what do the scholars say about this? Because I love reading what scholars say. I love reading what archaeology says. What does biology say about this? We must take a multidisciplinary approach to everything to do with the Bible and magic, all of it, and the Anunnaki. Multidisciplinary. Scholarship treats it as not a single fixed text, but as a tradition of texts and amulets attributed to Charlemagne and by extension to papal authority, often Pope Leo III. Now, while they do not believe that Pope Leo III actually wrote it, Pope Leo III absolutely endorsed it. So, what is it? It's a Latin term for a breve, is a breve or a breath or a brief or a note. It's a short written formula. It's folded, worn, or carried on one's person. What is it for? It's an amulet. It's a protection. Again, it's for healing, protection, or legal authorization. In the case of the breath of Charlemagne, it refers to protective texts or charms that were given to Charlemagne when he was going into war, authorized by Pope Leo III. If it wasn't written by him, it was authorized by him. Spells, and they are intended spells, protective spells and charms that you wear upon your person, protect you against physical harm, enemies, illness, and sudden death. Now, I want you to go to this book. I'm going to show you this book. Magic is Real, Get Over It. Okay. Magic is Real, Get Over It. I think that's the name of the book. Let me make sure. Magic is Real, Get Over It. It's such a good. I'm going to link it in the pinned comment like every day when I link the pinned comment. Is this the book I'm looking for? This might be a great book. That's not the exact book I'm looking for, because the exact book I'm looking for is written by a scientist, and he proved that magic was real. So let's go back to the breath of Charlemagne. If you are wearing this on your person and you believe it, you have passed the first test of magic. Believe. You have to believe it. You have to know like you know, like you know. Okay? Was it really written by Pope Leo III? Probably not. Probably not. So we don't have an exact 8th or 9th century manuscript that was written by Pope Leo's third's own hand. And all of those records are in the Vatican. So maybe they have it, maybe they don't. We don't know. But why Pope Leo III? Pope Leo III was Pope for about 21 years, looks like, from 795 to 816. He crowned Charlemagne emperor in 800. So remember, in this time that we're speaking of, all of those rulers who were enthroned around in Europe and all throughout those places were enthroned by the Pope, and they answered to the Pope. So there's that. Now, he crowned Charlemagne in 800. And so therefore, he is giving him it's legitimate power. It's divine power and it's imperial power coming together in one. So attributing a protective charm to Leo III Christianizes the magic, because Pope Leo III, this came from Pope Leo III, makes it licit, orthodox, powerful, and it anchors the imperial papal alliance, the marriage of church and state, which Constantine started back in the 300s, 4th century. Okay? Now, what do these texts contain? What's in them? Sacred names and divine formula. Many of them use the different names of God: Adonai, Agla, Tetragrammaton, YHWH, because people believed that all of these were names of God. Okay? Christological titles like Christ, in the name of Christ, Trinitarian invocations in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Biblical snippets use apotropaically, meaning that they put some of these Bible verses in the spell to activate the spell. Okay? Now, what did these spells protect you from? Weapons, battle, sudden death, fire, water, poison, demons, sorcery, your enemies. Okay? Some say very specifically, shall not be struck by iron nor overcome by enemies. Iron, why? Because they make weapons out of iron, swords and daggers and whatnot. We wouldn't say this spell now, and I'll tell you why we wouldn't say this spell in this way now, because right now no one's getting struck down by iron, everybody's getting struck down by bullets. So we would change the spell. The instructions for the use, the manuscripts give you the instruction for the use. Not only do they give you the words, not only do they give you what the words are going to protect you from, they also give you these are code books, very specific in the steps. These magicians were not willy-nillying it. No, very specific steps. And most of the time, the steps were extremely weird and had to be done at a certain time of the year or moon cycle or a certain type of animal or a skin of a this or a left paw of a this. It was very specific. These texts are very specific. Okay, now it's to be written, worn, or carried. So first you have to write it out. Then you've got to wear it on your person, or you've got to carry it like in some kind of sack or satchel. It's on parchment paper. Most of the time, parchment, I believe, is goat skin. Like they take the skin from the goat and they stretch it out and dry it, and that becomes parchment. If they're using parchment. If they're using papyrus, which was much older, papyrus is from a plant that grows in the Nile, right? But parchment is from goat skin, maybe sheep skin also, sometimes without being read aloud. This is classic amuletic logic. This is an amulet magic, protection magic. Now, is this magic or religion? Good question. I don't see a distinction. But people want to say there's a difference between magic and miracles. I've never seen the difference between magic and miracles. It's a false divide. I've never seen the difference between magic and religion because religion has a ton of magic in it. So I haven't seen the divide. If the divide is propped up, it's artificial. From a modern perspective, people in the modern age would look back and consider that to be magic. But from the perspective of the people who were doing it in the medieval age, they called it authorized sacred technology. That's what they would have called it. The Pope approved of this. All the priests are on board with this. The church is on board with this. The priests are doing spells for the people. The priests are handing out spells to the people. This is ordained by the Pope. This is legitimate, okay magic to do. And you want to wonder why. Wait a minute. Wasn't this the burning times? Wasn't this the times that if they found out that you were a witch or a necromancer or a sorcerer, they would just string you up and burn you or drown you or torture you? Yes, but they had very clear distinctions. The distinctions that they had were that if it was demonic, here's the distinctions. These are the important things we must understand. The church did not uniformly oppose amulets. The church was specific about the amulets that they opposed. What's the source and what's the intent? If it was pagan or demonic, it was condemned. If it was biblical, Christological, or papal, it was tolerated or even endorsed. Many clerics, priests, copied brevets because the priests were the scribes. The priests knew how to write. Most people did not know how to read or write. It was not necessary for them to read and write for the kind of life they were living. It later became necessary for the masses to learn to read and write after the printing press. That's normal. Why would we need to learn to read and write? You don't need to learn to read and write for the kind of life you were living then. So the scribes, the people who were trained in letters, writing, Latin, Greek, things like that, at this time it would have been Latin. The ones who were skilled in letters would copy things, and they could be hired for copying different things, copying legal documents, or, writing out. You had to hire somebody to write out everything. We didn't have books. There was no way to print. There was no way to just mass produce anything. So if you needed anything in writing, you had to go get somebody to write it for you. That concept alone is mind-blowing for us because we're drenched in printing and digital printing. And we don't even need a printing press anymore. We now just made zeros and ones turn into words for us on a screen. Like, we're super magical. We don't even need a printing press anymore. That's old technology. We can open a little device and get letters to appear on a screen and then swipe and move those letters out and get some new letters. What? If somebody from the Middle Ages saw that, they would absolutely think you're doing magic. So we've got to take ourselves to understand any of this stuff from the Bible. Let me say this. To understand any of this stuff from the Bible, you have got to take yourself out of your modern day mind, and you got to jump your mind back to 1,000 years ago. Then you've got to jump yourself back. Time jump. And you can time jump. That's one of your skills. You can time jump, or you can remote view, and go back and look at what people were doing 1,000 years ago in Christianity, because it's very different from what they were doing now. And if people try to tell you that Christianity was stable, or that the Bible was stable, or that there was just one thing that people were always doing, that's a lie. It's the worst kind of lie, because it does not acknowledge human ingenuity. It doesn't acknowledge evolution. It doesn't allow for growth and for changes in the faith, and for people to morph, and people to understand more and integrate more. Do you understand that Christianity and all religions is a moving, breathing thing that's always morphing? It was never stable. From the time of Jesus to now, it was never stable. It still isn't stable, because you have 35,000 different denominations of Christianity just in the United States, and they're all doing something slightly different. You're telling me that's stable? There's nothing stable about that. It's variance to suit what? To suit the people and what they need and how it works and all of that stuff. Okay, you're dealing with something that's very amorphous. It's like jelly. It's like slime and moves around. Okay, now, about this magic, do you wear it like a mojo bag? This is an excellent question. Carla, this is an excellent question. Most of the time, they would do it like a mezuzah. Does anyone know what a mezuzah is? Now, we used to see mezuzahs all the time, and that's how we knew we were at a Jewish household. We used to see a mezuzah all the time, which was a tiny little container. Looks like a little metal thing, and it would be affixed to the door sill, not on the door itself. It used to be on the door sill. We saw these all the time when we were in New York growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, knocking on 50 million doors. And when we saw a mezuzah, we knew that that was a Jewish household, because sometimes they had like inscriptions on the outside. Like, I don't know if it had the tetragrammaton on the outside, which is YHWH. And when you open it, well, I would never open it. I never touched it, because of course that's someone else's sacred fixing to their home. Inside the mezuzah is a tiny rolled up scroll. Let's look at a mezuzah. Let's get a picture of it right now. You see this all over New York. You see this in houses all the time. Has anyone ever seen this? Mezuzah. Yeah, there it is. For a door. Have you ever seen this? It's just right over your door. That's what it looks like. And you just screw it in. See? And then when you saw that, you knew that this was a Jewish household. Not all of them had the Star of David on them. And some of these mezuzahs that I would see, they would be like super old. So it was black. These are brightly colored. It would just be like one metal piece. And it would just be affixed to the door like this. Okay? Have y'all ever seen that? Just like this right here? That's what it would look like. And you say, oh, you know that this is a Jewish family. And when you put the mezuzah up, typically, from my understanding, inside, yes, you have one at the door. Absolutely. And I want to say that all spiritual groups do this, which is I got a broom at my door. Jewish people have a mezuzah at their door. I've seen a lot of Christian people that have "As for me and my household" at their door, or some Jesus something at their door, or a cross, something, because people know that the entry to your house is important. Everybody knows that. You know that instinctively. Something about the entry to my home is important. So you have things at the entry of your home causing an energetic force field, not only outward, inward also. This force field works both ways, inward and outward. This is energy. Everybody understands energy. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith says everyone's first language is energy. Everyone understands energy. And you know that you don't let any old body and any old craziness in your home because you understand your home is sacred. Well, on some level, like you can't, you know that your home is like a proper boundary. There's a boundary line there, and you're creating something inside the boundary line that does not exist outside the boundary line. Well, I believe that inside the mezuzah is a rolled up scroll. We can ask ChatGPT what's inside the mezuzah. It's a tiny rolled up scroll, and I believe that it has the Shema in there. The Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. The Lord our God, the Lord is one. And the way that it's spoken, a Jewish person was teaching me the Shema. I wanted to learn the Shema because I love it. Shema, because it speaks to oneness. Like, I don't care anything about the religion. It holds a truth. The truth is, yeah, we're one. When I heard it, I was like, that resonates for me. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Jewish people, if you're listening, Hebrew people, please put it in the chat whether I said that wrong or said that right. Help me, okay? Help me out because I want to learn the Shema. I love it. I love it. Okay. So, and she was teaching it to me, and she was a student in Intervisions also, and she was traveling back and forth from Israel to come to Intervisions, and she was teaching me the Shema because I love prayers and I love incantations, and it's another incantation to me. You tell her that to a witch, it's another incantation. Okay, so I believe inside the mezuzah is a tiny rolled up scroll. Let's look and ask it. Uh, what is inside the mezuzah? Yeah. Uh, Inside a mezuzah is a handwritten parchment scroll called a clef, containing two key passages from the Torah, Deuteronomy 6:4-9 and 11:13-21. Oh, that formed the core of the Shema prayer. That's what I'm talking about. Emphasizing the oneness of God and Jewish faith with the divine name Shaddai, Almighty, written on the back, symbolizing God's protection over Israel's doors. So come up with your own magic, baby, because people out here are using magic. Jewish people are using magic. Christian people are using magic. They don't know it. Jewish people probably know the magic that they're using because they have Kabbalah. Christians, the mystics know the magic they're using because they have Christian mysticism and Gnosticism. And then the Islamic people, they also know the magic they have because they have Sufism. All of the major world religions have an inner magical order, a secret society, let's call it. I know it's nothing secret about Sufism, yet try to get in there and see what happens. I don't think you're just going to walk up into a Sufi place. Okay, so here is the deal with regard to Charlemagne being a Christian king and the manuscript that has all these different manuscripts that have these amulets in it that are very Christian amulets. And then it also, I asked it, could he tell me what it said? And it told me what it said in Latin. And here's the English translation. In the name of the Father, you could copy this. You could copy it in. do a screenshot. I mean, it's a protection spell. This is it in Latin, and here it is in English. We'll read it in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. This is the note of Pope Saint Leo, which he gave to King Charles. Whoever carries this with them shall not fear the sword, nor fire, nor water, nor poison, nor enemy, visible or invisible. You telling me they're not doing spell work, visible or invisible? The Lord said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Christ conquers, Christ reigns, Christ commands. St. Michael before me, St. Gabriel behind me, St. Raphael above me. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Whoever carries this note shall not die an evil death. Amen. You tell me that's not a spell. That is a spell, and that is what people were carrying for a amulet. Come on, come on, come on. It's an amulet. Explain to you why it's an amulet. Now, visible and invisible. Okay, it's a technical phrase. Visible and invisible enemies. That means human attackers. That means demons. That means sorcery. That means anything. People even conceiving something against me is null and void. You know, the Christians, they always have a spell. There are certain spells that Christians love, which is it's a protection spell. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And they say it with fervency. That is a magical incantation. Maybe they don't know it. Okay, now I want to also say that this is a continued tradition. So it didn't start with them in the 800s, 900s CE. It didn't start there. This is a much older tradition. This harkens back to over 1,000 years, a couple of thousand years. Why? Because going all the way back to Greco-Egyptian Christian amulets around the 3rd to the 7th centuries CE found in Egypt, you see that they are written in Greek, Coptic, and they survive. We have the amulets on papyrus, parchment, ostraca, and metal. Ostraca just means like pottery shards. Like, you could find a piece of pottery that had written on it because people would create pottery that they eat out of and they would write the spells on the pottery and then bake it in. And every time you're drinking out of that thing, like, why did we lose all our magic? People were doing it, Christians were doing this. Why did we lose our magic? Bring it back, bring it back. And they were folded, tied, worn, folded, tied, buried, or placed on bodies and used for protection from harm, illness and fever, childbirth, travel, demons, sudden death. See, it's natural for us, and same divine names, the amulets would invoke Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and sometimes Uriel. And it would say before me, behind me, above me, around me. Okay. So it was, that's what we did. We did magic. We did magic and we did magic. We did a lot of magic for everything. We were very magical. And somehow, as we went past that, the burning times in Europe, it didn't happen everywhere, it just happened in Europe. The rest of the world kept their magic. So when you go to Mayan, when you go to Latin America didn't have the burning times. We've got to get out of the consciousness to think that what happened in Europe happened everywhere. It didn't. Africa didn't have the burning times. China didn't have the burning times. India didn't have the burning times. India is still magical AF. You go there's a temple every place. There's incense, there's rituals, there's flowers. They're still doing all their magic. That's probably why they kept going for 5,000 years. India is one of the oldest civilizations on the planet, including including China. China, one of the oldest continuous empires on the planet, and India, one of the oldest civilizations on the planet. They never stop their rituals. They still do rituals to this day. To who we get married to, well, let's do a ritual. Well, what is the moon saying? And they don't do anything until they go to an astrologer. India is still doing it. They still kept their magic. And what are the American people doing in a 200 and some old year old country? Your country is a baby. Your country is a fly on an ass of India. But people think America, the great world power. Well, let's just look at history. Let's just look at longer than 200 years. 200 years can't tell us jack about life. What about 2,000 years? What was happening 2,000 years ago? What was happening before then? Because if you don't understand what came before you, you will not understand yourself. Because you don't understand what came before you, and we can't learn from the people who made the mistakes and told us, hey, don't do this thing. We got to learn from that. Do you ever notice India has never been in any of these world wars? They have never been in it world wars. For a while, they were partnered with the British, under duress and doing some of the bidding of the British, uh, empire. And India is its own place. India is doing, they never lost their magic. You, however, were cheated out of your magic, and I say get it back. Go get your magic back and stop letting the overlords do the magic, but you can't do the magic. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Peace. Guys, yeah.